Most, before we even get into the list, let me say this clearly. This video is not about making you feel bad. Every single one of these mistakes comes from a place of love. You feed your cat what you think is best. You set up their space the way that makes sense to you. You show them affection the way feels natural. And that's exactly why this video matters. Because the mistakes that do the most damage are almost always the ones made by people who genuinely care. The people who don't care aren't watching videos like this one. So let's go through these 50 things together. Not as a list of failures, but as a guide to doing even better for the animal that has already chosen to share your life. And trust me, some of these are going to surprise you. We're starting with food, because nothing affects your cat's health, energy, mood, and lifespan more directly than what goes into their bowl every single day. Mistake number 1, you're free feeding and calling it convenience. Free feeding, leaving a bowl of dry food out all day so your cat can eat whenever they want, is one of the most common things cat owners do, and one of the most quietly damaging. It feels kind. It feels generous. The bowl is always full. Your cat is never hungry. Problem solved. Except the problem isn't solved. It's created. Cats in the wild don't have constant access to food. They hunt. They eat. They rest. They hunt again. That cycle of effort and reward is built into their biology. When you remove the effort entirely and make food permanently available, several things happen. First, many cats overeat. Not because they're hungry, but because the food is there. The same way humans mindlessly snack when there's a bowl of chips on the counter. Second, free feeding makes it nearly impossible to monitor how much your cat is actually consuming, which means you won't notice a decreased appetite early. And a decreased appetite is one of the earliest and most important signs that something is medically wrong. Third, it removes one of the most meaningful interactions in your cat's day. A cat that is called to eat at feeding time, that experiences the small but real satisfaction of anticipating and receiving a meal, is a mentally more engaged cat than one that wanders over to a full bowl whenever the mood strikes. Scheduled feeding, twice a day for most adult cats with measured portions, is what veterinary nutritionists consistently recommend. It gives you information. It gives your cat structure. And structure, for an animal that thrives on routine, is not a luxury, it's a need. Mistake number 2, you're giving your cat only dry food. This one is genuinely important, and it's one that a lot of well-meaning cat owners get wrong for years without knowing it. Dry food is convenient. It stores easily, it's affordable, it doesn't smell, it can sit in a bowl all day. These are real advantages. But dry food has one serious, non-negotiable problem when it comes to cats. Cats are not designed to drink much water. Their wild ancestors were desert animals. They evolved to get most of their moisture from the prey they ate, raw meat that is roughly 70% water. The domestic cat's kidneys are built around this model. They are highly efficient at concentrating urine, which works brilliantly when moisture is coming from food. But when a cat lives primarily on dry kibble, which typically contains only 8 to 10% moisture, they are in a state of chronic mild dehydration, even if a water bowl is always available. Most cats simply don't drink enough water to compensate for the deficit in dry food. They don't have the instinct to seek out water the way they would in a natural environment. The consequences accumulate over time. Chronic low-level dehydration puts sustained pressure on the kidneys, which are already among the most vulnerable organs in aging cats. Kidney disease is the leading cause of death in older cats, and diet-related chronic dehydration is a significant contributing factor. Urinary tract issues, crystals, blockages, infections are also far more common in cats fed exclusively dry diets. Wet food, which typically contains 70 to 80% moisture, is not just a treat. For many cats, particularly as they age, it is meaningfully better for their long-term health. A diet that combines both, wet food as the primary component, with some dry food if desired, is what most veterinary nutritionists currently recommend. If you can only do one thing differently after watching this video, adding a portion of wet food to your cat's daily diet is one of the highest impact changes you can make. Mistake number 3, you're giving your cat cow's milk. This one persists because the image is so deeply embedded in culture. The cat lapping from a saucer of milk, the classic picture of feline domesticity. And kittens do drink milk from their mother, specifically formulated cat milk that their bodies are designed to process. Cow's milk is a different thing entirely. Most adult cats are lactose intolerant. After weaning, the enzyme that breaks down lactose, lactase, reduces significantly in most cats. When an adult cat drinks cow's milk, the lactose it can't digest ferments in the gut, causing diarrhea, stomach cramps, and digestive upset. The reaction varies from cat to cat. Some tolerate small amounts, others react badly to even a tablespoon. But there is no nutritional benefit to cow's milk for adult cats that isn't better provided by actual cat food, and the risks are real. If you want to give your cat something special and liquid, a small amount of specifically formulated cat milk, which has the lactose removed, or plain unseasoned low-sodium chicken broth, or just clean fresh water are all better options. The saucer of milk is one of those traditions that looks loving and feels loving but isn't. Once you understand what's actually happening. Mistake number 4, you're not reading the ingredients on cat food. Cat food labeling is not straightforward, and manufacturers count on you not reading carefully. The front of the package shows beautiful photographs of whole chicken or fresh salmon. The back tells a different story. The first ingredient in a cat food should be a named animal protein. Chicken, turkey, salmon, beef, not meat byproducts, not animal digest, not poultry meal, as the primary protein source with corn or wheat gluten, filling out the rest. Cats are obligate carnivores, which means they have a biological requirement for animal protein that cannot be met by plant-based ingredients. A cat food that lists corn, wheat, or soy high on its ingredient list is not providing the nutritional profile that a cat's body is built to use. High-carbohydrate cat foods and many inexpensive dry foods are very high in carbohydrates, contribute to obesity, blood sugar dysregulation, and over time, an increased risk of diabetes in cats. Cats have virtually no metabolic need for carbohydrates. Their liver doesn't even have the same glucose regulation mechanisms that omnivores like dogs and humans have. Feeding a cat a high-carb diet is not just suboptimal, it's working against their biology. Look for foods where a named meat is the first ingredient. Look for foods that are low in carbohydrates and free of artificial preservatives and colorings. The price difference between a mediocre food and a genuinely good one often amounts to less than $1 a day. Over a cat's lifetime, that $1 a day may be the difference between a cat who develops kidney disease at 12 and one who is still thriving at 18. Mistake number 5. You're giving your cat the wrong treats too often. Treats are not inherently a problem. Using food to reward your cat, to reinforce positive behavior, to strengthen your bond, these are all valid and good. The problem is when treats become a significant portion of a cat's daily calorie intake, or when the treats themselves are low-quality products full of salt, artificial flavoring, and empty fillers. Many popular commercial cat treats are essentially the cat food equivalent of junk food, engineered to be irresistible through the addition of flavor enhancers, high sodium content, and texture, designed to bypass the cat's instinct to stop eating when full. Cats can become genuinely addicted to certain treat formulations in ways that make them less interested in their actual nutritionally balanced meals. If your cat turns their nose up at dinner but screams for a specific treat, that treat has probably been engineered to produce exactly that response. Treats should make up no more than 10% of your cat's daily calorie intake. They should ideally be single ingredient, freeze-dried chicken, freeze-dried fish, or similar, with nothing added, and they should be used with intention, not handed out continuously throughout the day as a response to every meow. Mistake number 6, your cat's water bowl is in the wrong place. In the wild, cats instinctively avoid drinking water that is near their food source. The biological reason is that prey animals near water contaminate it, and a kill near a water source is a likely source of contaminated water. The instinct to separate food from water is ancient and deeply embedded. When you place your cat's water bowl directly beside their food bowl, which is what almost every cat owner does because it seems logical and convenient, you are working against that instinct. Many cats will drink less as a result, contributing to the chronic low-level dehydration we discussed earlier. Move the water bowl to a different location, ideally in a separate room or at least several feet from the food. Better yet, add multiple water sources around your home. And if your cat seems uninterested in still water, consider a cat water fountain. The movement and sound of circulating water appeals to the same instinct that draws cats to streams and running water in the wild. Many cats who drink very little from a static bowl will drink significantly more from a fountain. For kidney health and urinary tract health, this simple change can make a meaningful difference over time. Mistake number 7. You're ignoring your cat's weight. Obesity in cats has reached epidemic proportions in the developed world. Estimates suggest that more than 50% of domestic cats in the United States are overweight or obese. The consequences are serious and progressive. Increased risk of diabetes, arthritis, fatty liver disease, heart disease, reduced immune function, and a significantly shortened lifespan. An obese cat may live 2 to 3 fewer years than a healthy weight cat, and the years they do have are often less comfortable. The problem is that weight gain in cats is gradual and easy to miss, especially in long-haired cats where the extra weight is hidden under fur. Most cat owners don't weigh their cats regularly, and the changes happen so slowly that they adjust their perception of what their cat looks like without noticing the shift. By the time a cat looks obviously overweight, they often already have been overweight for a year or more. You should be able to feel your cat's ribs easily when you run your hands along their sides. Not see them, but feel them with light pressure, the same way you can feel your knuckles when your hand is loosely closed. If you have to press firmly to feel the ribs, your cat is overweight. If you can't feel them at all, your cat may be obese. A healthy cat also has a visible waist when viewed from above and a slight abdominal tuck when viewed from the side. Weigh your cat monthly. Your vet can help you determine a healthy target weight and a realistic plan to get there. Slow, gradual weight loss, no more than 1 to 2% of body weight per week, is safe for cats. Rapid weight loss is not, and can cause a dangerous condition called hepatic lipidosis, or fatty liver disease, which is one of the most common serious illnesses in cats put on overly aggressive diets. Mistake number 8. You're feeding dog food in a pinch and thinking it's fine. Dog food is not cat food. This seems obvious, but it's worth explaining clearly because many households with both cats and dogs have reached for the dog food in an emergency or simply let the cat eat from the dog's bowl without thinking much about it. Cats require taurine, an amino acid that is essential for heart function, vision, and reproductive health. Unlike dogs and humans, cats cannot synthesize taurine from other amino acids. They must consume it pre-formed in their diet. Dog food is not required to contain taurine at the levels cats need because dogs can make their own. A cat fed primarily dog food over time will develop taurine deficiency, which leads to dilated cardiomyopathy, a serious and potentially fatal heart condition, as well as retinal degeneration and blindness. Cats also have a much higher protein requirement than dogs and a lower tolerance for carbohydrates. Dog food is simply not formulated for feline biology. Once in a great while, in a genuine emergency with no alternative, a meal of dog food will not harm your cat. As a regular practice, it can. Mistake number 9. You're giving your cat raw fish regularly as a treat. Raw fish, particularly raw tuna and raw salmon, is something many cat owners give as a special treat, partly because cats often love it and partly because it seems natural and wholesome. The reality is more complicated. Raw fish contains an enzyme called thiaminase, which destroys thiamine, vitamin B1, in the gut. Thiamine is essential for neurological function in cats. A cat fed large amounts of raw fish regularly can develop thiamine deficiency, which causes neurological symptoms including loss of coordination, seizures, and in severe cases, death. Cooking destroys thiaminase, so cooked fish does not carry this risk, but raw fish fed regularly does. Raw salmon and raw trout also carry the risk of a bacterial infection, specific to the Pacific Northwest, called salmon poisoning disease in dogs. But cats can also be affected by related parasites found in raw Pacific fish. Beyond these specific risks, A diet too high in any single protein source can create nutritional imbalances over time. Plain cooked fish, in moderation, as an occasional treat, is fine for most cats. Raw fish regularly, as a significant part of the diet, is not. Mistake number 10. You're not adjusting your cat's diet as they age. A 7-year-old cat has different nutritional needs than a 2-year-old cat. A 14-year-old cat has different needs again. Feeding the same food in the same amounts from kittenhood through old age ignores the way a cat's body changes over time. Kittens need higher protein and fat to support rapid growth and development. Adult cats need a maintenance-level diet. Senior cats, generally considered to be over 7 years old, with geriatric cats being over 11, often need food that is higher in easily digestible protein to compensate for reduced protein metabolism, lower in phosphorus to protect aging kidneys, and adjusted in calorie density to account for changes in activity level and metabolic rate. Senior cats also frequently develop dental disease that makes certain textures of food painful to eat, reduced kidney function that changes their nutritional needs significantly, hyperthyroidism that dramatically increases calorie requirements, and other conditions that have direct dietary implications. A conversation with your vet about your cat's specific nutritional needs at each life stage is not optional. It is one of the most direct investments you can make in how long and how well your cat lives. And that's the first 10. 10 mistakes, all of them made from a place of not knowing, rather than not caring. Now you know. And the next time you stand in front of the cat food aisle, or fill up your cat's water bowl, or reach for a treat, you'll make a different choice, a better one. Let's talk about the mistakes that happen outside the food bowl, because what you do and what you don't do when it comes to your cat's health and medical care will determine more about the quality and length of their life than almost anything else. And this is the category where the gap between what people think is necessary and what actually is necessary tends to be the widest. Mistake number 11, you only take your cat to the vet when something is obviously wrong. This is the single most common and most consequential mistake in this entire list. Most cat owners take their cats to the vet reactively. When the cat is limping, not eating, visibly ill, or in obvious distress. Annual preventive checkups for many cat owners feel unnecessary. The cat seems fine. Why fix what isn't broken? Here's why. Cats are masters of concealing illness. This is not a personality quirk. It is a survival mechanism that runs so deep in their biology that it operates even in cats who have never spent a day in the wild. In nature, a sick or injured animal that shows weakness becomes a target. The instinct to appear healthy and functional, even when they are not, is hardwired into every cat alive. By the time your cat is showing obvious signs of illness, by the time the limp is visible, the appetite is clearly gone. The behavior has changed enough that even a casual observer would notice. The underlying problem has almost certainly been developing for weeks or months. Annual blood work catches kidney disease years before symptoms appear. It catches early hyperthyroidism, early diabetes, early liver dysfunction. These are the diseases that kill cats, and all of them are significantly more treatable when caught early than when caught late. A cat whose kidney disease is identified at stage 1 or 2, when appropriate dietary changes and medication can slow progression dramatically, has a very different prognosis than a cat whose kidney disease is found at stage 3 or 4, when the kidneys have already lost most of their function. The visit also gives your vet the opportunity to examine your cat's teeth, their weight trend, their coat quality, their lymph nodes, their heart and lungs. A full physical that can reveal things you would never notice at home. Twice yearly visits are recommended for senior cats, once yearly as an absolute minimum for younger adults. The cost of a preventive visit is a fraction of the cost of treating an advanced disease that could have been caught early. Mistake number 12. You're skipping dental care entirely. By the age of 3, studies estimate that 85% of cats have some degree of periodontal disease. By middle age, dental disease is essentially universal in cats who receive no dental care. And dental disease is not just a mouth problem. The bacteria that proliferate in infected gums and around diseased teeth don't stay in the mouth. They enter the bloodstream with every meal, every grooming session, every swallow. Over time, chronic oral bacteria are associated with damage to the heart, the kidneys, and the liver. The cat, who has been living with dental disease for years, is not just dealing with mouth pain. And they are dealing with mouth pain, even though they are not showing it, because cats don't show pain. They are also dealing with the systemic effects of chronic low-grade bacterial infection throughout their body. Signs of dental disease in cats include bad breath, drooling, pawing at the mouth, dropping food while eating, chewing only on one side, and reduced appetite. But many cats show none of these signs even with significant dental disease because they have adapted to the discomfort so completely that it has become their new normal. Brushing your cat's teeth is the gold standard. A soft brush and cat-specific toothpaste, a few times a week, introduced gradually from kittenhood. Most adult cats who weren't introduced to brushing early will resist it, and forcing the issue creates stress and damages trust. For those cats, dental treats that carry a veterinary oral health seal, water additives, and dental wipes are imperfect but meaningful substitutes. And annual dental cleanings under anesthesia, recommended by your vet based on your individual cat's needs, are the most effective intervention for cats whose disease has already progressed. The anesthesia concern is real and worth discussing with your vet, particularly for older cats. But the risk of a properly managed dental cleaning under veterinary anesthesia is, for most cats, significantly lower than the risk of leaving advancing dental disease untreated. Mistake number 13. You're not keeping up with parasite prevention. Indoor cats get fleas. This surprises many indoor cat owners, but it is simply true. Fleas come in on clothing, on shoes, on other pets, through window screens, through any opening in a home. An indoor cat with no flea prevention who gets fleas can develop flea allergy dermatitis, a painful, intensely itchy reaction to flea saliva that causes hair loss and skin damage. Heavy flea infestations can cause anemia in small cats and kittens. Fleas are also the intermediate host for tapeworms, meaning a cat who swallows a flea during grooming, which they almost certainly will, can develop an intestinal tapeworm infection. Heartworm transmitted by mosquitoes is another parasite that affects cats, not just dogs, and that can enter even indoor homes through any mosquito that finds its way inside. Heartworm disease in cats is more difficult to treat than in dogs, and even a small number of worms can cause serious respiratory disease. Monthly parasite prevention, a good quality flea and tick preventive, and in appropriate geographic areas, heartworm prevention, is recommended by the American Association of Feline Practitioners for all cats, indoor and outdoor alike. Your vet can guide you on what's appropriate for your cat and your region. What is not appropriate, ever, is using dog parasite preventives on cats. Several common dog flea and tick treatments, particularly those containing permethrin, are acutely toxic to cats and can be fatal even in small amounts from contact with treated dogs. Mistake number 14. You're dismissing behavioral changes as personality quirks. Your cat stopped jumping onto the bed they used to love. They're drinking more water than usual. They're using the litter box more frequently but producing less urine. They seem quieter than normal, less interested in play. They're sitting in a slightly hunched posture you haven't noticed before. These are not personality quirks. These are symptoms. Reduced jumping can indicate arthritis, which is far more common in cats than most owners realize. Studies suggest that over 90% of cats over 12 have radiographic evidence of arthritis. Yet the vast majority are never diagnosed because their owners attribute the slowdown to aging rather than to a treatable, painful condition. Increased water consumption and urination are classic early signs of kidney disease, diabetes, or hyperthyroidism. Litter box changes can indicate urinary tract infection, kidney disease, or diabetes. A hunched posture indicates pain. A cat sitting hunched in a loaf position with slightly tucked paws who is quieter than usual is not just in a cozy mood. That cat is very likely experiencing abdominal discomfort. Cats cannot tell you what hurts. The only language they have is behavior. Learning to read behavioral change as potential medical communication and taking it seriously enough to mention it to your vet is one of the most important things you can do as a cat owner. Write down changes you notice. Track them over days. If a change persists for more than a couple of days, or if multiple changes appear together, call your vet. Mistake number 15. You're giving human medications to your cat. This kills cats, not occasionally, regularly. Acetaminophen, Tylenol, is acutely fatal to cats at doses that would be therapeutic for a human. Cats lack the liver enzyme needed to metabolize it, and even a single regular-strength tablet can cause rapidly progressing liver failure and death. Ibuprofen and aspirin are severely toxic to cats and can cause gastrointestinal hemorrhage, acute kidney failure, and neurological damage. Many antihistamines, decongestants, antidepressants, and sleep aids that are safe for humans have very narrow therapeutic windows in cats or are simply dangerous. The impulse comes from a good place. Your cat seems uncomfortable, you want to help, you have medication in the cabinet that fixes the same problem in you, but a cat's liver metabolizes drugs through entirely different pathways than a human liver. Drugs that are safe at human doses are often toxic at any dose to cats. Never give your cat any human medication without explicit direction from your veterinarian. If your cat is in pain or distress, call your vet. If it is an emergency outside of office hours, call an emergency veterinary clinic. If you cannot reach a vet and you are worried your cat has been exposed to a toxic substance, the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center operates a 24-hour hotline. Use it. Mistake number 16. You're not spaying or neutering. Or you waited too long. The medical case for spaying and neutering cats is compelling and consistent. Unspayed female cats have a dramatically elevated lifetime risk of mammary cancer. The risk is reduced by approximately 90% when a cat is spayed before her first heat, and the reduction diminishes with each subsequent heat cycle. Spaying eliminates the risk of pyometra, a life-threatening uterine infection that is relatively common in intact older female cats and requires emergency surgery when it occurs. Unneutered male cats are at elevated risk of testicular cancer, and the behavioral consequences of intact male cats, roaming, fighting, urine spraying with a pungent odor, increased aggression, create both welfare and practical problems that neutering resolves almost entirely. Intact male cats who fight are at significantly elevated risk of FIV, feline immunodeficiency virus, transmission through bite wounds. The optimal age for spaying and neutering has been updated in recent veterinary guidance. Early spay/neuter, around 4 to 5 months before the first heat, is currently recommended by most feline veterinary organizations. If your cat is already past that window, spaying or neutering at any age still provides meaningful health benefits and eliminates the reproductive risks going forward. Mistake number 17, you're using the wrong litter or the wrong box. Litter box problems are the #1 behavioral reason cats are surrendered to shelters, and the overwhelming majority of litter box problems are not behavioral problems at all. They are owner-created problems that can be solved by understanding what cats actually need from their toilet setup. The litter box should be 1.5 times the length of your cat from nose to tail base. Most commercially sold litter boxes are too small for most adult cats. A cat that has to contort itself to turn around in its box, or that can't comfortably cover its waist, will look for alternatives. There should be one more litter box than the number of cats in the household. 1 cat, 2 boxes. 2 cats, 3 boxes. This is not a luxury recommendation. It is a behavioral necessity for cats who are territorial about their toilet areas and who strongly prefer not to share. The box should be scooped daily, not twice a week, daily. A cat's sense of smell is 14 times more acute than a human's. A box that smells acceptable to you may smell overwhelming to your cat. A dirty box is one of the most common causes of a cat choosing to eliminate elsewhere. Most cats prefer unscented, clumping litter with a fine texture similar to sand. Strongly scented litters, which are marketed to humans who find cat odor unpleasant, are often deeply aversive to cats whose delicate olfactory system finds the artificial fragrance overpowering. The perfume masks the smell for you. For the cat, it makes an already strong-smelling place even more overwhelming. Location matters too. The box should not be in a loud, high-traffic area. It should not be next to the cat's food and water. It should not be in a location where the cat can be ambushed by another pet or startled by a loud appliance. It should be accessible at all times and not require navigating stairs if the cat is elderly or has mobility limitations. Get these basics right, and most litter box problems resolve themselves. Mistake number 18. You're ignoring the signs of stress. Stress in cats is not just an emotional issue. Chronic stress suppresses immune function, contributes to inflammatory conditions, causes or worsens gastrointestinal problems, including vomiting and diarrhea, and is directly linked to feline idiopathic cystitis, a painful bladder condition that causes bloody urine and straining to urinate, and that has no infectious cause. The stress itself is the cause. The signs of stress in cats are often subtle and easily missed or misattributed. Hiding more than usual, grooming excessively, or conversely neglecting grooming, eating less, becoming more vocal, becoming less vocal, losing interest in play, becoming clingier than usual, or noticeably more distant, toileting outside the litter box, aggression toward people or other pets that wasn't previously present. Common stressors include a new pet in the home, a new baby, a change in the owner's schedule, construction or renovation, moving furniture, the owner's own elevated stress level. Cats are remarkably sensitive to their owner's emotional state and will reflect it. A new neighborhood animal visible through the window, changes in routine, and insufficient environmental enrichment. Identifying the stressor and addressing it is the most important intervention. But while you're doing that, ensuring your cat has adequate vertical space, high perches, cat trees, shelving, safe hiding places, regular play sessions, and a predictable routine will all help buffer the physiological impact of stress. Mistake number 19. You're not microchipping your cat. Even indoor cats escape. It happens through an open door, an unlatched window, a gap in a fence, a moment of distraction, and a cat without any form of identification who ends up at a shelter or with a well-meaning stranger who takes them in has no reliable way back to you. Collars and tags are a good idea, but collars can be lost, can fall off, and can be removed. A microchip, a tiny transponder about the size of a grain of rice, injected under the skin between the shoulder blades, is permanent, cannot be lost or removed, and can be read by a scanner at any veterinary clinic or shelter. When your lost cat is brought in, the chip is scanned, and your contact information is retrieved. The procedure takes seconds and causes momentary discomfort equivalent to a routine vaccination. The chip itself lasts the lifetime of the cat. The one essential step that many people miss is registering the chip. The chip itself contains only a number, which must be entered into a registry linked to your contact information. Without registration, the chip cannot reunite you with your cat. Keep that registration current if you move or change your phone number. Mistake number 20. You're not preparing for your cat's senior years early enough. The changes that come with age in cats, decreased kidney function, reduced digestive efficiency, joint stiffness, dental disease progression, cognitive changes, sensory decline, begin earlier than most people realize and progress gradually in ways that are easy to miss. By the time a cat is showing obvious age-related symptoms, the underlying processes have typically been underway for years. Preparing early means scheduling twice-yearly vet visits from the age of 7. It means beginning baseline blood work while your cat is still healthy so that future changes can be measured against a personal baseline rather than against a population average. It means considering a senior-appropriate diet before problems emerge rather than after they've been diagnosed. It means beginning to evaluate your home environment for age-related accessibility, whether food, water, litter boxes, and sleeping spots are easily reachable for a cat whose mobility may be gradually changing. It means learning what behavioral and physical changes to watch for so that you catch them early. The senior years can be among the richest of your relationship with your cat. The cat who has lived with you for 10 or 12 or 15 years knows you in a way that a younger cat doesn't. That relationship deserves the investment of active, attentive care in the years when it matters most. If you have a senior cat right now and you want a complete guide to giving them the best possible care in every stage of what comes next, I've put together something specifically for that. The link is in the description below. This is the category where most cat owners feel the most confident and make the most mistakes because behavior feels intuitive. You live with this animal, you know them, you can read them. Except that what most of us are actually doing is reading our cats through a human lens, interpreting their actions with human assumptions, and missing what they're actually communicating almost every single time. Mistake number 21. You're punishing your cat. Let's start with the big one. Punishment does not work with cats. Not spray bottles, not loud noises, not physical correction, not shouting, not rubbing their nose in a mess. None of it. Here's why. And it's not just about being kind, it's about how the feline brain actually processes cause and effect. For punishment to function as a learning tool, the animal has to make a clear and immediate connection between its behavior and the negative consequence. Dogs can make this connection within a few seconds of the behavior occurring. Cats have a much narrower window. Some behavioral research suggests it may be as short as 1 to 2 seconds. By the time you've discovered the knocked-over vase, found your cat, and expressed your displeasure, you are not punishing the behavior of knocking over the vase. You are creating a negative association between your cat and the experience of being near you when you are angry. The cat does not connect the punishment to the action. It connects it to you. The result is a cat that becomes more anxious, less trusting, more likely to hide, more likely to engage in stress-related behaviors, and continues to knock things over, scratch the furniture, or eliminate outside the litter box because nothing has actually changed about the underlying motivation for those behaviors. What works is redirection and positive reinforcement. When your cat scratches the furniture, redirect them to a scratching post and reward them when they use it. When your cat jumps on a counter, make the counter less appealing and a nearby cat tree more appealing. When your cat does something you want them to do, reward it with a treat, with praise, with a play session. The cat's brain is absolutely capable of making these positive associations. It learns beautifully through reward. It learns almost nothing through punishment except to be afraid of you. Mistake number 22. You're misreading your cat's tail. The tail is one of the most expressive parts of a cat's communication system, and most owners read it incorrectly, partially because dog tail language is so familiar that we impose its rules on cats. A dog wagging its tail is happy. A cat moving its tail rapidly back and forth is not happy. A cat whose tail is flicking or lashing from side to side is irritated, overstimulated, or agitated. This is one of the clearest warning signals a cat gives before escalating to a scratch or bite, and most people miss it entirely because they associate tail movement with positive excitement. When you see the tail start to move during a petting session, that is your cat's first polite request for you to stop. The second request will be less polite. A tail held straight up, quivering slightly at the tip, is a completely different signal. This is a greeting, a sign of happiness and confidence, the cat equivalent of a warm hello. A tail wrapped around another cat or around your leg is a social gesture, an expression of affection and connection. A tail puffed to twice its normal size is a fear or threat response. The cat is trying to look larger, which means something has frightened or threatened them. A tail tucked low or between the legs indicates anxiety or submission. Learning to read the tail in conjunction with the rest of the cat's body, the ear position, the pupil size, the posture, the vocalizations, gives you access to a communication channel your cat has been broadcasting on continuously, and that most owners spend their entire lives not fully receiving. Mistake number 23. You're forcing affection. You pick up your cat when they don't want to be picked up. You hold them in your lap when they're trying to leave. You bury your face in their fur when they are leaning away. You keep petting them past the point where they've indicated they're done. This feels like love. From the cat's perspective, it is something closer to the opposite. Cats are not small dogs. They are not built for sustained physical restraint or for being controlled by a larger being, even a beloved one. When you hold a cat that wants to leave, their stress response activates. Their heart rate increases, their cortisol rises, their body goes tense. If you do this repeatedly, the cat begins to associate your approach with the unpleasant experience of being restrained, Over time, they become less likely to seek you out voluntarily, more likely to leave the room when you enter, and more likely to scratch or bite when you reach for them. Not because they don't love you, but because they have learned that your physical attention sometimes means being controlled in a way that feels threatening. The cats who are most affectionate with their owners are almost always the cats whose owners let them leave when they want to leave. The paradox is real, and it is consistent. Give your cat full autonomy over physical contact, and the contact they choose to initiate will increase. Restrict that autonomy, and the contact will decrease. Respect is not just an ethical requirement in the cat relationship, it is a practical prerequisite for the kind of bond most cat owners want. Mistake number 24. You're not slow blinking back. The slow blink is one of the most well-documented forms of feline communication, and it is one that most cat owners are aware of in theory but don't actually use consistently in practice. When a cat slow blinks at you, a long, deliberate closing and opening of the eyes, they are communicating trust and relaxed affection. It is the cat's way of telling you that they are comfortable enough in your presence to voluntarily reduce their visual awareness, which is something a cat would never do if they felt threatened. Research published in scientific reports in 2020 confirmed that cats respond positively to slow blinking from humans, approaching more readily and spending more time near people who slow blink at them. When your cat slow blinks at you, slow blink back. Make eye contact, then gently close your eyes for a moment, then reopen them. You are, in a very real sense, speaking your cat's language. You are telling them, in a signal they are evolved to understand, that you are safe, that you are relaxed, that they are welcome in your space. You can also initiate slow blinking toward a cat who hasn't started it. Many cats will respond by slow blinking back, and some will approach you when you do this, even if they were previously keeping their distance. It costs nothing and takes 3 seconds and communicates something genuine to your cat in a language they actually speak. Mistake number 25. You're not giving your cat enough to hunt. Your cat is a predator, not metaphorically, not historically. Right now, today, the cat on your sofa has the same hunting drive as the wild cat that wandered into a Neolithic grain field 10,000 years ago. That drive does not go away because the food comes from a bowl. It does not diminish because they live indoors and there is nothing to hunt. It simply has nowhere to go. An indoor cat with no outlet for predatory behavior accumulates what behaviorists call predatory frustration. This expresses itself in behaviors that owners find baffling or unpleasant. Biting hands and feet, racing around the house at 2 a.m. in what is called the zoomies, fixating on other pets, scratching furniture intensely, or becoming generally restless and irritable. The solution is structured interactive play. Not a toy left on the floor for your cat to ignore, but active play sessions where you move a wand toy or feather teaser in ways that mimic the movement of prey. Unpredictable, erratic movement that requires your cat to stalk, pounce, chase, and capture. 2 sessions of 10 to 15 minutes per day, timed ideally before meals to simulate the natural hunt-catch-eat sequence, will address predatory frustration more effectively than any other single intervention. This is not optional enrichment. For an indoor cat, it is a basic welfare need. Mistake number 26. You're misunderstanding why your cat brings you dead things. Your cat drops a toy at your feet. Maybe if they have outdoor access, something less welcome. Your instinct is to recoil, to scold them, to push it away. This is the wrong response. And understanding why requires understanding what the gesture means. This is gift-giving behavior, rooted in the maternal behavior of mother cats who bring prey to their kittens to teach them to hunt. A cat who brings you something, toy, leaf, mouse, hair tie, is including you in their social world in one of the most intimate ways a cat knows how to do. They are sharing their catch. They are treating you as a member of their colony, worthy of being provided for. The correct response is acknowledgement, not enthusiasm that will puzzle the cat, but calm, warm recognition. A soft word, a gentle interaction, a moment of attention. The goal is to let the cat know the gesture has been received and appreciated. because the gesture is genuine and meaningful, and your cat made it from a place of genuine social affinity. Mistake number 27. You're not understanding what your cat's meow is actually for. Adult cats do not meow at other cats. This is one of the more striking facts in feline behavioral science. Kittens meow to their mothers, but once they are grown, cats communicate with each other almost entirely through body language, scent, and vocalization, types other than meowing. The meow, as a sustained form of communication, is something cats developed specifically for interacting with humans. This means that when your cat meows at you, they are not speaking their natural language. They are speaking a language they developed for you, adapted to get your attention and communicate their needs in a form you can perceive. Different cats develop different meow vocabularies with their specific humans. One study found that cat owners can distinguish the meaning of their own cat's meows more accurately than the meows of an unfamiliar cat, suggesting that the communication is genuinely personalized. Most persistent meowing is communicating something specific: hunger, a desire for attention, discomfort, boredom, or in some cats, anxiety. The mistake is dismissing it as noise rather than listening to it as communication. When a cat who doesn't normally vocalize begins meowing excessively, that is a behavioral change that deserves attention, both for what they might be trying to tell you and as a potential indicator of an underlying health issue. Hyperthyroidism, high blood pressure, cognitive dysfunction in senior cats, and pain can all present as increased vocalization. Mistake number 28. You're not respecting the slow introduction. You bring a new cat home, you put them in the living room, you let your resident cat come over and investigate. There is hissing, there is chasing, there is a week of tension, and you hope it resolves itself. Often it doesn't, at least not into the harmonious multi-cat household you imagined. The correct introduction process for cats is slow, controlled, and takes a minimum of 2 weeks and often significantly longer. It begins with complete physical separation. The new cat in their own room with their own food, water, and litter box. Then scent introduction, exchanging bedding, feeding both cats near the closed door so that the smell of the other cat is associated with the positive experience of eating. Then visual introduction through a cracked door or baby gate with food on both sides to maintain positive associations. Then supervised face-to-face contact in short sessions with both cats able to retreat if needed. Then gradual expansion of shared space. This process feels slow. It feels like you're keeping cats apart when you want them to be together. But the time investment at the beginning dramatically reduces the probability of chronic inter-cat conflict that can make multiple cats miserable for years. Cats forced into cohabitation without proper introduction often never fully accept each other. Cats introduced properly develop relationships that range from tolerant to genuinely affectionate. The 2 weeks at the beginning is not a cost. It is an investment in every year that follows. Mistake number 29. You're leaving your cat alone for too long, too often. The myth of the fully self-sufficient cat, the idea that cats are so independent that they genuinely don't need human company, that leaving them alone for extended periods is simply not a problem, is one of the most damaging misconceptions in cat ownership. Cats do have a higher tolerance for solitude than dogs. They are not pack animals. They can manage periods of alone time that would be genuinely distressing for a social dog. But can manage is not the same as thrives on. Studies using behavioral observation and cortisol measurement in cats left alone for varying periods consistently find elevated stress markers in cats left alone for extended periods, particularly in cats who have formed strong attachments to their owners. The signs are often subtle. A cat who seems needier than usual when you return, who vocalizes more, who has redirected destructive behavior toward furniture or household items, who develops stress-related physical symptoms like over-grooming. Many of these signs are attributed to personality rather than to the genuine emotional need they reflect. Cats who are regularly left alone for more than 8 to 10 hours benefit significantly from environmental enrichment. Puzzle feeders, window perches with bird feeders or squirrel activity visible outside, rotating toys, cat TV content, hiding places of varying heights and sizes. A second cat, introduced properly, can meaningfully reduce the stress of solitude for many cats, though this depends significantly on both individual cats' temperaments. And when you return, genuine engagement, a play session, quiet time together, active attention rather than passive coexistence, matters to your cat more than most owners realize. Mistake number 30. You're not learning your individual cat's language. Everything in this category, the tail reading, the slow blink, the body language, the vocalization, applies in general. But your specific cat is not a general cat. They are an individual with their own particular communication style, their own specific signals, their own unique version of the species-wide language. Some cats communicate distress with a very subtle tail flick. Others are more dramatic. Some vocalize constantly and expressively. Others are almost entirely silent and communicate primarily through positioning and posture. Some cats have an extensive repertoire of different meows for different needs. Others have developed one all-purpose attention-getting sound. The investment of paying attention, genuinely focused, daily, ongoing attention to the specific ways your specific cat expresses themselves, pays dividends that no general guide can fully provide. You are not learning about cats in general. You are learning about this cat in this relationship, at this stage of both your lives together. That knowledge is irreplaceable. And the cat who is known that way, who is truly seen and understood in their particular individuality, is a cat who is measurably calmer, more trusting, and more affectionate than a cat who lives with a well-meaning owner who has never quite figured out what their cat is trying to say. Your cat's environment is not just the backdrop of their life. It is an active participant in their physical health, their mental well-being, their stress levels, and the quality of every single day they spend in your home. And most cat owners put almost no conscious thought into it beyond buying a bed and a scratching post and calling it done. Let's change that. Mistake number 31. You don't have enough vertical space. In the wild, cats use height for safety, for surveying their territory, for escaping threats, and for establishing social hierarchy. The cat who occupies the highest point in the environment is, in feline terms, the cat with the most status and the most security. Your home, from your cat's perspective, is their entire territory. And if that territory is flat, if the only spaces available to them are floor level, you are denying them something their biology actively seeks. A cat with access to vertical space is a more confident, less stressed, more behaviorally balanced cat. Cat trees, wall-mounted shelves, window perches, the top of a wardrobe made accessible with a stepping stone arrangement of lower furniture. All of these give your cat what flat floor space cannot. In multi-cat households, vertical space is even more important because it allows subordinate cats to create distance from more dominant ones without leaving the room entirely, which significantly reduces conflict and stress. The minimum for a single cat in an average apartment is one substantial cat tree, tall enough for them to fully stretch out at the top, plus at least one additional elevated surface they can access and choose to rest on. For multi-cat households, multiple high points accessible to all cats without requiring them to pass through another cat's claimed space is a meaningful welfare investment. Mistake number 32. You don't have enough hiding places. The ability to hide, to be invisible, enclosed, protected on multiple sides with a clear sightline to the approach, is a fundamental feline need that most home environments don't adequately provide. A cat who cannot hide when stressed does not become less stressed. They become more stressed chronically because one of their primary coping mechanisms is unavailable to them. Hiding places do not need to be elaborate or expensive. A cardboard box on its side with a small opening, a blanket draped over part of a cat tree, an open carrier left in a quiet corner with a familiar-smelling bed inside, a shelf in a wardrobe left accessible. What matters is that the hiding place is in a location the cat has chosen rather than been assigned, that it is accessible when they need it without having to navigate past a threat to reach it, and that it is respected, meaning no one reaches in to extract the cat who has retreated there. Pulling a cat out of their hiding place because you want to interact with them or because you're worried about them is one of the most counterproductive things an owner can do. The hiding place is a coping mechanism. Removing the cat from it removes the mechanism. A cat who is allowed to hide until they feel safe will emerge when they feel safe. A cat who is repeatedly retrieved from their hiding place learns that the hiding place doesn't actually provide safety, and their stress compounds. Mistake number 33. Your home smells wrong to your cat. Cats experience their world primarily through smell in a way that humans, as visual creatures, consistently underestimate. Their olfactory system is roughly 14 times more sensitive than ours. The home that smells neutral and clean to you is a rich, complex landscape of scent information to your cat, one that they actively manage through cheek rubbing, bunting, and scent marking to create a familiar olfactory map that signals safety and belonging. Many common household products disrupt this map in ways that create genuine distress for cats. Strongly scented cleaning products, particularly those containing citrus, pine, or chemical solvents, can be overwhelming. Air fresheners and plug-in diffusers that you might barely notice can be intensely aversive to your cat in the spaces where they spend the most time. Scented candles and incense create sustained olfactory environments that some cats find deeply unpleasant. Essential. Oil diffusers deserve special mention because they are dangerous beyond mere aversion. Several essential oils are toxic to cats: tea tree oil, eucalyptus, peppermint, clove, cinnamon, and others. And cats exposed to these, either through diffusion, direct contact, or accidental ingestion, can develop neurological symptoms, liver damage, and respiratory distress. This is not a mild sensitivity. It is a genuine toxicity risk, and essential oil diffusers should not be used in homes with cats. When you clean areas your cat frequents, rinse thoroughly and allow complete drying before allowing the cat access. Consider unscented versions of litter, cleaning products, and laundry detergent. Pay attention to your cat's response to new scented products. Avoidance of a previously enjoyed space after introducing a new air freshener is telling you something. Mistake number 34. You're not providing enough scratching options. Scratching is not bad behavior. Scratching is a biological imperative. Cats scratch to shed the outer layers of their claws, to stretch the muscles and tendons of their back and shoulders, to leave visual and scent markers in their territory, and to discharge stress and pent-up energy. A cat who is not scratching is a cat with a health problem. A cat who is scratching your furniture is a cat whose environment has failed to provide adequate alternatives. The single scratching post in the corner that wobbles when your cat leans on it and is barely taller than your cat's outstretched front legs is not adequate. Cats need scratching surfaces that are tall enough for a full stretch, typically at least 32 inches for an average adult cat, and stable enough that they don't move when pressed. They need surfaces in the locations they actually want to scratch, which are often prominent locations near sleeping areas and near entry points to rooms, not hidden in corners. They need both vertical and horizontal scratching options because cats have individual preferences for scratch angle, and many prefer horizontal surfaces. Multiple scratching options in multiple locations around the home, combining sisal, cardboard, and wood textures to accommodate your individual cat's preferences, will protect your furniture far more effectively than any deterrent spray, double-sided tape, or corrective intervention ever will. Give your cat what they need in the places they want it, and they will use it. Mistake number 35. Your cat has no window access or environmental stimulation. For an indoor cat, a window is a television, a newspaper, a library, and a social media feed all in one. The movement of birds, squirrels, insects, people, and cars outside a window provides hours of visual and auditory stimulation that engages the cat's predatory attention system and occupies time that might otherwise be directed toward destructive or anxious behaviors. A window perch, a padded shelf that attaches to a windowsill, giving the cat a comfortable elevated vantage point directly at the glass, is one of the highest return investments you can make in your indoor cat's daily quality of life. Position a bird feeder within sight of the window and you have created a cat enrichment station that provides changing, unpredictable, genuinely engaging content for hours every day. Beyond windows, environmental enrichment for indoor cats includes puzzle feeders that require the cat to work for their food, engaging the problem-solving brain and mimicking the cognitive engagement of hunting, rotating toys so that familiar toys are put away and reintroduced after several days, which restores their novelty, introducing safe new objects and scents periodically, a paper bag from a pet store, a piece of wood from outside, an herbal sachet of cat-safe plants like valerian or silvervine, foraging opportunities where small amounts of food or treats are hidden around the home for the cat to find. All of these interventions address the fundamental welfare need of mental stimulation that an indoor environment, without conscious effort, chronically fails to provide. Mistake number 36, you're not managing multi-cat resources correctly. In a multi-cat household, resource distribution is one of the most significant sources of chronic stress and conflict, and it is almost entirely invisible to the humans living there. The resources in question are food stations, water sources, litter boxes, sleeping spots, high perches, and hiding places. When these resources are insufficient in number or poorly distributed in space, cats are forced into competition for them. Competition that may be entirely silent and invisible to you, but that creates sustained, low-level stress in subordinate cats that degrades their health and well-being over time. The rule is simple: one of each resource per cat, plus one extra, distributed in different locations around the home so that no single resource point can be guarded by a dominant cat. 2 cats need 3 food stations, 3 water sources, 3 litter boxes, multiple sleeping spots at varying heights, and multiple hiding places. These should be far enough apart that no cat can simultaneously monitor and block access to 2 of them. Cats in multi-cat households who are chronically stressed by resource competition often don't fight openly. They display stress through subtle behavioral changes: eating faster, eating less, using the litter box less frequently, and therefore developing urinary issues, hiding more, grooming excessively, or simply spending more time separated from other cats in a way that looks like preference for solitude, but is actually conflict avoidance. Getting the resource distribution right eliminates most of this without anyone having to intervene in the cat's relationship at all. Mistake number 37. You're using punishment-based deterrents that damage trust. Motion-activated air sprayers, shake cans, aluminum foil on counters. These are all methods used to deter cats from specific locations or behaviors, and some of them have a role to play. Particularly passive deterrents like foil or sticky mats that the cat discovers independently, without any human involvement. The cat learns that the counter is unpleasant. The counter is unpleasant. There is no human in the equation. But devices that activate when the owner is present, or worse, owner-directed deterrents like spray bottles aimed at the cat, create a different association. The cat learns not that the counter is unpleasant, but that the human is unpredictable and sometimes does something startling and aversive. This damages trust. It makes the cat warier around you, and it doesn't address the underlying reason the cat wants to be on the counter in the first place. Usually a desire for elevation, warmth, or proximity to where you spend your time. The more effective approach is to make the alternative more attractive than the deterred location. A heated cat bed at the same height as the counter, positioned nearby. A cat tree that puts the cat at eye level with you when you're standing in the kitchen. The cat goes to the counter because the counter offers something. Offer that something somewhere you're happy for the cat to be. Mistake number 38. You're not maintaining a predictable routine. Cats are creatures of habit in a way that goes beyond preference and into genuine psychological need. Their stress response is calibrated around predictability. A world that behaves consistently is a world that can be anticipated. And a world that can be anticipated is a world that feels safe. When the routine shifts significantly, feeding times change, your work schedule changes, furniture is moved, people visit, new smells or sounds enter the environment, the cat's stress response activates. This doesn't mean your life must be completely rigid for your cat's sake, but it does mean that when changes are necessary, gradual transitions are significantly less disruptive than sudden ones. Moving furniture incrementally rather than all at once. Introducing a new schedule by shifting meal times by 15 minutes every few days rather than changing them overnight. Giving the cat extra predictable, positive interactions during periods of household change. A consistent play session at the same time each day, meals on schedule even when everything else is in flux, provides an anchor of familiarity that buffers the stress of change. Mistake number 39. You're not cat-proofing your home adequately. Cats are curious, athletic, and completely unaware of which household objects are dangerous. The list of common household hazards for cats is longer than most owners realize and includes things that seem entirely innocuous. Lilies, Easter lilies, tiger lilies, day lilies, Asiatic lilies, are acutely and severely toxic to cats. Ingestion of even a small amount of any part of the plant, including pollen or water from the vase, can cause acute kidney failure. Cats who ingest lily and are treated within 6 hours have a reasonable prognosis. Cats treated later often do not survive. Lilies should not be in any home with cats. Period. String, thread, rubber bands, hair ties, tinsel, and ribbon are all linear, foreign body risks. Cats who swallow linear objects often develop intestinal obstruction or perforation that requires emergency surgery. These items should be stored completely inaccessible to cats. Many common houseplants are toxic, pothos, philodendron, dieffenbachia, sago palm, and oleander among them. The ASPCA maintains a complete list of toxic plants on their website, and it is worth checking before bringing any new plant into a home with cats. Open washing machines and dryers, open toilet lids in homes where cats drink from the toilet, unsecured windows above ground floor level, balconies without adequate screening, recliner chairs and sofa beds that can trap or injure cats who have crawled inside. All of these are genuine hazards that cat proofing should address before an emergency makes the lesson unforgettable. Mistake number 40. You're not giving your cat enough genuine quality time. This is perhaps the most important mistake in this entire category, and it is the easiest to accidentally make because modern life creates a particular kind of busyness where you can be physically present with your cat for many hours a day while giving them almost no genuine attention. You are home. The cat is home. You are on your phone or working or watching television. The cat is nearby. Everyone is in the same space, but the cat, who is watching you, reading your body language, noticing your focused attention directed entirely at a screen, the cat knows the difference between being in the same room as you and being with you. Quality time for a cat means active, genuine engagement. A play session where you are actually present, moving the toy with real attention, reading the cat's responses and adjusting accordingly. A quiet period where you sit with the cat and offer slow blinks and gentle interaction and your actual undivided attention, even for 10 minutes. Grooming sessions if your cat enjoys them. Learning something new about your cat through observation. A new preference you hadn't noticed. A new behavior that tells you something about how they're feeling. Cats are not demanding in the way dogs are. They will not follow you around crying for attention, most of them. They will simply be nearby, waiting, occasionally attempting to insert themselves between you and your screen, doing the things cats do to tell you they would like you back. And it is very easy to let those signals slide past day after day in the reasonable press of a full life, without realizing that the relationship you have with your cat is slowly, quietly becoming thinner than it could be. The cat who is genuinely engaged with, genuinely known, genuinely a participant in your daily life rather than a background presence in it, that cat lives differently. They are calmer, healthier, more affectionate, more resilient when things change. The investment is not large. 10 to 15 minutes of real, genuine, focused engagement per day makes a measurable difference to a cat's quality of life. Yours too, if the research on the stress buffering effects of cat interaction is anything to go by. We've covered food, health, behavior, and environment. But this last category is the one that most cat owners never see coming. Because these aren't mistakes you make with your hands or your schedule. These are mistakes you make with your assumptions about what your cat feels, what your cat needs from you emotionally, and what kind of relationship is actually possible between a human and a cat. These are the mistakes that cost the most, quietly, over years. Mistake number 41. You assume your cat doesn't grieve. Cats grieve. This is not anthropomorphism or wishful thinking. It is documented, observable, and physiologically real. When a companion animal dies, another cat they lived with, a dog they grew up alongside, many cats show behavioral changes that are consistent with what grief looks like across species. They search. They vocalize in ways they don't normally vocalize. They lose appetite, they sleep more, they become more clingy with their human, or in some cases, more withdrawn. They may visit the places the other animal used to frequent and sit there, waiting for something that doesn't come. The mistake is dismissing these changes as random or as simple adjustment to a changed routine, and doing nothing. A grieving cat benefits from extra one-on-one attention, from maintained routine, from patience with behavioral changes that may last weeks or even months. They should not be immediately replaced with a new pet in the belief that a new companion will fix the grief. The introduction of an unfamiliar animal into the territory of a cat who is already stressed is more likely to compound the stress than resolve it. Time, attention, and gentleness are what a grieving cat actually needs. Give them the same care you would want someone to give you. Mistake number 42. You think your cat's aggression is personal. Your cat scratched you, bit you hard during what seemed like a perfectly pleasant petting session, attacked your ankles as you walked past, hissed at you when you reached toward them, and your instinct is to feel hurt, to feel rejected, to wonder what you did wrong, or to conclude that your cat simply doesn't like you. Almost none of this aggression is personal in the way human aggression is personal. Cats aggress for specific, identifiable reasons that have nothing to do with disliking you as a being. Overstimulation during petting. The petting threshold we've discussed is one of the most common causes. Redirected aggression, where the cat is aroused by something they can't reach. A cat outside the window, a bird on the feeder, and redirects that arousal onto the nearest moving thing, which happens to be you. Play aggression in young cats who haven't learned appropriate bite inhibition. Fear aggression in response to something that startled them. Pain aggression in a cat who is hurting and whose pain you accidentally aggravated by touching a sensitive area. Understanding that aggression is communication, that it is telling you something specific about what the cat is experiencing in that moment, transforms it from a relational rupture into information. What was the cat doing before it happened? What were you doing? What else was happening in the environment? The answers to those questions almost always point to a specific trigger that can be identified and addressed. The aggression is not the problem. It is the signal that points to the problem. Mistake number 43. You're projecting your emotional needs onto your cat. You had a terrible day. You need comfort. You pick up your cat and hold them tight because the warmth of another living creature is exactly what you need right now. And your cat, who is perfectly content doing something else, is now being used as an emotional support object by a large creature who is not reading any of the signals they are sending that indicate they would like to be put down. There is real comfort to be found in your cat's presence. The research on cortisol reduction and oxytocin release in cat owners is genuine and meaningful, but the comfort that is actually good for both of you, the kind that comes from genuine reciprocal connection, requires that the cat be a willing participant, not a captive one. A cat who chooses to come and sit on your lap when you're sad, who presses their head against you when you're crying, who seeks you out during a difficult evening because something in your demeanor or your scent or your stillness has communicated to them that you need company. That is a genuinely comforting connection, and it is something many cats do, but it has to be chosen. The cat who is being held against their will is not providing comfort in any meaningful sense. They are enduring an experience they would prefer to escape from, while you project onto them a willingness to be there that they have not expressed. The practice of noticing what your cat is actually doing, of reading their signals honestly rather than overriding them with what you need them to be doing, makes the moments of genuine mutual comfort more frequent and more real, because a cat who is always allowed to leave will sometimes choose to stay, and that choice, when it comes, means something. Mistake number 44. You don't take your cat's fear seriously. Your cat hides when strangers visit. They panic at the sound of the vacuum cleaner. They are terrified of car travel, of the vet carrier, of fireworks and thunderstorms. And your response is to reassure them verbally, to try to coax them out of hiding, to hold them through the feared experience so they learn it isn't dangerous, to tell them they're being silly. None of this helps. Some of it makes things worse. Fear in cats is a physiological state, not a rational position that can be argued out of. The stress hormones flooding a frightened cat's system are real. The elevated heart rate is real. The experience of threat is real. Even if the threat is objectively not dangerous, holding a terrified cat still through a feared experience does not teach them the experience is safe. It teaches them that the feared experience also involves being restrained by you, which adds a new layer of aversion to an already aversive situation. What helps is systematic desensitization and counter-conditioning, very gradual, controlled exposure to the feared stimulus at an intensity the cat can tolerate without entering full panic, paired with something highly positive like a favored treat. This takes time and patience, and often benefits from the guidance of a veterinary behaviorist. For specific situational fears like thunderstorms or fireworks, calming aids, pheromone diffusers, anxiety wraps, and in some cases veterinary prescribed anti-anxiety medication can make the difference between a cat who is suffering through these events and one who is managing them with some degree of equanimity. Taking your cat's fear seriously enough to actually address it, rather than tolerating it as a personality quirk or trying to talk them out of it, is one of the most genuinely caring things you can do. Mistake number 45. You're not noticing the small ways your cat shows love. You're looking for the big demonstrations. The cat who comes running when you arrive home, who demands to be held, who purrs loudly and conspicuously whenever you're near. And because your cat doesn't do those things, you conclude that they are not particularly affectionate, that you don't have the kind of bond you wanted, that cats are simply more distant than you hoped. But you are looking for dog expressions of love in an animal that speaks a different language. Cat love is quieter, more restrained, more easily missed if you don't know what you're looking for. The cat who follows you from room to room but stays several feet away rather than demanding contact? They are near you because they choose to be. That is love. The cat who sleeps near the door of whatever room you're in, they are tracking your presence, keeping you within range. That is love. The slow blink from across the room, the head bump when they walk past you, the cat who always seems to know when you're upset and appears more frequently during those times, not dramatically, not loudly, but reliably. These are all love, expressed in the language of a creature who has been independent for 10,000 years and who does not perform attachment. They live it quietly in the small, consistent choices they make every day about where to be and who to be near. Learn to see it. It's there. Mistake number 46. You've given up on the relationship because it's difficult. Your cat hides from guests. They don't like to be held. They scratch the furniture despite everything. They ignore you sometimes in ways that feel pointed. They do strange things at strange hours. The relationship is not what you pictured when you imagined having a cat. And somewhere along the way, without quite deciding to, you've stopped really trying. The relationship between a human and a cat is not one that arrives fully formed. It is built over time, through accumulated small interactions, through learning each other's language and each other's limits, through the gradual deepening of trust that comes from consistent, respectful engagement. Cats who were timid at adoption become genuinely affectionate after a year of patient, low-pressure interaction. Cats who scratched and bit in their first months learn slowly what kinds of contact they enjoy and how to communicate when they've had enough. The cats who end up being described by their owners as the most loving, most connected, most remarkable animal relationships of their lives are often the cats who required the most patience to get there. If the relationship you have with your cat is not the one you want, the question is not whether to give up on it. The question is what you haven't yet tried, what you haven't yet understood, what your cat has been trying to tell you that you haven't quite learned to hear. The answer is almost always there, and the effort of finding it is worth it. Mistake number 47. You're not preparing emotionally for the end. Most cat owners don't think about their cat's death until it is imminent or already happening. And in that moment, in the shock and grief of a sudden diagnosis, or the exhaustion of a long decline, or the devastating clarity of a euthanasia appointment, they are making the most consequential decisions of their cat's life without having had any time to think about what they believe or what they want. The questions that matter are ones you can think about now while your cat is healthy in the calm space of ordinary life. What does a good death look like for your cat? What level of medical intervention feels right to you? And at what point does intervention become prolonging dying rather than extending living? What is your cat's baseline quality of life? And what changes would tell you that baseline is no longer being met? Do you know your vet well enough to have this conversation with them honestly? Thinking about these things in advance is not morbid. It is an act of love. It means that when the time comes, and it will come, you will be guided by things you've actually thought through rather than by panic and guilt and the very human desire to do everything possible, even when everything possible is no longer in your cat's interest. Your cat cannot make these decisions. You are the one who will make them for them. Being prepared to make them well and in time is one of the most important things you can do. Mistake number 48. You don't talk to your cat. Not because cats understand every word. They don't, though they understand more than most people think, but because talking to your cat in a calm, warm, conversational tone does something real to both of you. Research has found that cats whose owners talk to them regularly develop measurably different neural architecture in the auditory processing regions of the brain. Their brains literally grow in response to the sustained input of human speech. Cats raised in quiet homes show neurological patterns similar to cats with hearing loss. The stimulation matters, and talking to your cat maintains something that matters in the relationship: a habit of address, of treating this animal as a presence worth speaking to, of narrating your day and your thoughts in a way that keeps the channel of communication between you actively open. The cat who is talked to is a cat who is consistently acknowledged, and a cat who is consistently acknowledged feels, in whatever way a cat feels things, that they are seen. Tell them about your day. Explain why you're opening that particular can of food. Describe the rain outside the window. Ask them what they think. They will not answer in words, but they will look at you, and their ears will orient toward your voice, and something in the quality of their attention will tell you that the communication, imperfect and asymmetrical and real, is happening. Mistake number 49. You measure your cat's life in length instead of quality. A cat who lives to 18 with the last 3 years spent in chronic discomfort, enduring frequent medical interventions, in a state of persistent low-grade distress. Has that cat had a better life than the cat who lived to 14 in robust health and comfort, with a peaceful end? The number of years is not the measure. The quality of those years is the measure. This is a mistake that becomes critical in the senior and geriatric years, when the impulse to do more treatment, more intervention, more effort to extend, can override the question of what the cat's actual lived experience is. More days is not always better days, and the cat cannot tell you when the balance has shifted. You have to be paying close enough attention to know. Quality of life scales for cats, developed by veterinary oncologists and hospice specialists, assess factors like pain level, appetite, hydration, hygiene, happiness, mobility, and the ratio of good days to bad days. These tools exist precisely because the question is hard and the impulse to avoid it is powerful. Use them. Have the conversation with your vet about what you're seeing. Honestly, including the things you're afraid to say out loud. Your cat deserves a life measured in how it felt, not just how long it lasted. Mistake number 50. You forget to be grateful, not in a sentimental way, in the practical, daily, grounded way of actually noticing what you have. There is a cat in your life, an animal that came in from the cold, literally, evolutionarily, historically, and decided that the arrangement of living with a human was worth the terms, who developed an entire second language, a system of meows and blinks and head bumps specifically to communicate with you, who has built a cognitive model of you as a trustworthy and important presence, who will, if you've been paying attention and doing the things in this video, feel genuinely safe in your company, genuinely bonded, genuinely at home in a life shared with you. That is not nothing. That is, when you stop and think about it clearly, something quite extraordinary. An independent wild animal with every instinct oriented towards self-sufficiency has chosen your company, has decided day after day that you are worth being near. The mistake of not being grateful is not just an emotional mistake, it is a perceptual one. It means moving through the days with your cat without quite seeing what is actually there. The small gifts of proximity and trust and chosen companionship that a cat offers in ways so quiet that they are easy to walk past. Stop and notice them. The cat who chose your lap, the slow blink from across the room, the warmth of another breathing creature sleeping at the foot of your bed, the sound of purring in a quiet house. These things are here now. They will not always be here. Notice them while they are.